So that's the basic IPO highway that
Right.
helps to understand leadership to business impacts. So if you had to say, let me take this framework, right? When we take this leadership to business impact analytics framework, and you had to, with your finger, kind of draw on
Yep.
James Clear feedback about what's balancing and what's
Yep.
reinforcing, how would you do that?
Yeah. So we talked about the whole notion of building a feedback framework. That's your
Mhm.
feedback framework. But it's only a framework that exists. It's not really working till it becomes a loop, right?
That's right.
That's the idea here. So everybody builds a framework. Frameworks are great to be had. But what really makes a framework great is that if there's a looping, so there's a learning going on from this framework. And for a framework to be a learning framework, you have to build a loop. Loop is, so you captured your attributes, you put them through a process, you now understand how it impacts your outcome variables, right?
That's right.
Question of the loop is that the loop now needs to say, did it work?
Mhm.
Right? So that's the thing of saying, that's just half of it. Did it work? So
Mhm.
when I intended to move curiosity by 2 points, because I was told via modeling that then moves your retention rates, for example. Let's just use that as a quick example. If I move my curiosity by 2 points, my retention rate moves in the
Mhm.
positive direction by 2 points. I'm just making these numbers up, obviously.
Mhm.
Did it happen? Because I
Mhm.
can measure, right? Now I can measure if my curiosity moved 2 points or not.
Mhm.
And I can also measure my outcome. So did that happen? If it didn't happen, then go back and learn. Did you do things? So did your curiosity actually move 2 points or did it move 1 point?
Mhm.
That's the first way to do it, right? So that's how you do the balancing, right, Reg? You basically go back and you say, hey, listen, am I on track
Am
of
I
what I
on track?
intended?
Mhm.
Am I on track of what I intended? Now, let's say that you moved your curiosity 2 points, but you still didn't increase your attrition by 2 points.
Mhm.
That's a new learning. That means
Right.
that there is some attributes here that are missing that are impacting your attrition beyond curiosity. What could those be? Let me add them in. And that becomes your loop over here. And that's your reinforcing. So
You're
that's right.
reinforcing.
Yeah. So you're reinforcing the framework. So with every loop that you take, now imagine this, the first journey you take is this way. And now you're in a loop. You're in a learning loop, right? You're going this way and you're going this way. Every loop you take around the circuit, your framework is getting stronger.
I think the
Does that make sense?
yeah, and I think I love it when you're learning real time. And so it's not like we get on the call every week and do our Rejuvi 45 sessions. And it's not like we know everything. We're here to learn. And I think one of the most significant things that I just learned from you is that the IPO highway is a framework. It's a framework for helping us to understand the connectivity between leadership attributes and business outcomes. It doesn't become a feedback loop until we start to learn from it and we build in what can be balancing and what can be
Reinforcing. Yep.
reinforcing.
Yep.
That's a significant learning. That's a
Yep.
significant learning for me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think from my perspective, that is the what do you call that? The soul or the core of leadership to business impact analytics.
Mhm.
And that is where you start getting into the space of saying it's not an invisible hand so much.
Right.
It's an intentionality thing. There are knowns and unknowns. It's only that we've not uncovered the unknowns yet. But unless you go through that loop, you'll never get to uncovering the unknown. So it's not mystical. I've said this before many times. It's not like,
Yeah, but you
ooh,
have to do
yeah,
this. You
yeah, I
have
have
to
to
do
do
this.
this, right?
Yeah.
It's
But
there's a method to the madness here. Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna say it again, and then I'm gonna actually give some examples.
Yep.
The IPO highway is a framework,
Yep.
but it's not a feedback loop until you use it, until you
Right.
get the balancing and the reinforcing feedback working in a loop type of way, which to me is the major message here when you think about why we're gathered today on the loop. It's to say there are other options than to think about measuring your leadership movement in the linear way that we've always been taught. Here's
Exactly.
Kirkpatrick's 4 levels of measurement. This is about establish your framework and then get the learnings moving in a balancing and reinforcing way.